When I was 16, my dad took me to an NBA basketball game, and he unknowingly got us courtside tickets. Hey, I'm Trevor, and this story is about me, but I promise if you wait till the end, there will be some encouragement for you. So back to my story. My dad had this thing where all of us kids got to go on a rite of passage kind of trip with him when he turned 16. The three boys got to go to NBA basketball games, and my sister got to do like a shopping experience, which definitely sounds like I got the better end of the deal. And this wasn't the first time I got to go to an NBA game, but this was definitely the most memorable. I remember this day like it was yesterday. I remember we flew to Phoenix, we went to the hotel, we woke up the next morning, went downstairs and had some crappy continental breakfast. We probably had like Lucky Charms and toast and orange juice, you know the kind. But then we got to go explore beautiful downtown Phoenix. Honestly, I don't even remember what we did that morning, but I do remember we got hungry again. And so I got to choose wherever we wanted to eat. I knew that we didn't want arena food because arena food is so expensive and it's not really that great. Like you can get a pretzel for $12 and a hamburger for $15. And it's not much better than a cafeteria burger. So since it was my birthday, I got to choose. And so I chose my favorite food, sushi. So I found the best sushi spot we could find. And I don't know about you, but whenever I eat sushi, I eat way too much. Like it's to the point where I'm eating and I'm like, I could have stopped 5 rolls ago. Why am I still eating? So I was full, but I was excited for the game. So to the game we went, full of sushi and ready to see one of my favorite players at the time play, Steve Nash. Bet you can't guess why he was one of my favorites. And back in the day, you actually had to go to something called will call to get your tickets. It's not like how it is today where you could just order the ticket online, get it to your phone, you're ready to go. No, we had to go and pick it up at the stadium. I probably should say this, that my dad told me he had a connection. He had a friend who was going to hook us up. And I didn't know this later, but I guess I found out that his connection was the assistant to the owner of the Suns at the time. So we got our tickets and we head inside. And with our tickets in hand, we walk up to the first person who gets ready to scan our tickets. And my dad has his ticket, I have my ticket. We show our tickets, the guy scans the tickets, and I will never forget the look of that man's face. It was kind of like a look that was like, how did you get these tickets? He looks at us again and he calls for a supervisor. At this point, I'm like, Dad, you got scammed. Like, what did you do? Did you get stolen tickets or what's going on? And this man in a red jacket appears and asks us to follow him. I'm like, Dad, we messed up. We're not even gonna get to see the game. We're put in Phoenix Suns jail. And so we're walking down the corridor with this guy in this red jacket, and he takes us to this inconspicuous door that's just chilling on the side. He opens the door and it is just a downward staircase. I'm still not convinced that we're actually going to see the game at this point. And at this point, me and my dad are looking at each other like, what are we doing? And looking back on it, I think my dad was just as nervous and excited as I was. For a little bit of context, I'd been to a bunch of basketball games before, but every time I showed the ticket, it was just like walk in, then you walk to your section, you show your ticket, and then they always pointed me up because I always got nosebleeds. Like the one that was in the back row where you could hit your head on the back of the wall, that was the kind of tickets my dad always got us. But not for my birthday. We got the hookup tickets for my birthday. Like I said, we're following this guy down this staircase and we eventually get into this opening and it's like a club. There was a DJ playing music. There was food being served. There was all these people hanging out having a good time. And I said there was food, but not like arena food. They had like snacks and popcorn and all that kind of stuff, but they also had a guy cutting off prime rib off a sword onto people's plates. Like it was legit food. So after a couple of minutes pass of us just kind of like, what are we getting ourselves into? Guy in the red jacket appears again and comes up to us and says, are you guys ready to go to your seats? And we follow him, but instead of looking down on the court like I've done my whole life, at this point, we're looking out onto the basketball court because we are on the court. Like my shoes are on the same court as that of Steve Nash, and which, by the way, he was like 6'3" or something like that. He was a lot taller than me, which every NBA basketball player is way taller than you think they are. So here we are sitting, watching the NBA basketball game courtside. And at some point, I think I'm eating an ice cream sundae. And I think my dad leans over and says, Trevor, do you see who's sitting next to you? I look and it's Muhammad Ali. I was like, we're sitting right next to Muhammad Ali, like not right next to, but you know, like a couple seats over was Muhammad Ali. It was crazy. I actually don't really remember much about the basketball game. Like I think the Suns won, but honestly, that day was way more about the experience than the basketball game. At some point in the game, I remember turning to my dad and saying, Dad, I feel like we don't belong here. And my dad said something that I will always remember. He looked at me and he said, our tickets say we do. And I wonder if there might be some people watching this video right now. You're just watching this because of the experience that I had and you want to hear a cool story. But you might find yourself in a place where you feel like you don't belong. Maybe you don't feel qualified, or maybe you think that you're not good enough. Or maybe like me, because you were so used to sitting in the nosebleeds, sitting courtside almost felt wrong. In my story, if I had used all my previous experience of sitting up in the nosebleeds and used that to dictate what my future was going to be, I would have never been able to have this awesome experience of sitting courtside next to Muhammad Ali. And for you, don't allow what has happened in the past to determine what you can do today. There could be a new career, a new opportunity, a new relationship, something for you to accomplish. But if you're too busy looking at what you've done in the past, or why you can't, or why you shouldn't, then you're not going to be able to see what's right in front of you and the opportunities that might be available to you today. But hey, that's my story. Hopefully it encourages you that you belong, that you can do something different than what you've always done. And if this impacted you at all, drop it down in the comments, or maybe even tell me a cool experience that you've had, and I'd love to connect with you. Thanks for watching.